Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. Today's topic is about how to find previous non-weekend in SAS. So to understand this, let's look at an example in here. In here, I have one variable and I have some dates in here starting from 06 Jan 2022 to 26 Jan 2022. And in here, the goal is to find previous non-weekend only. Say for example, here I have some dates. Now I don't know which one is a non-weekend, but says one of the day is a weekend. Say for example 10 Jan or something is a weekend. So I don't want that to be my previous date, but I want a non-weekend day to be my previous date. Now let us see how we can solve this problem. To solve this problem, the approach I would like to do is to use a pseudocode and also to explain step by step how we can understand and solve a problem. So to solve this problem, I will go step by step, and in the each step I will follow it by some pseudocode followed with the code itself. The first step here would be to find previous day or date. To find the previous day or date, all I need to do is I need to use a lag function. I have made a video on the lag function. If you need a refresher on the lag function, please have a look at it, and I will give the link for the same in the description below. So first we need to do a lag function. So basically lag function will give me the previous date. For 6 Jan 2022 there is no previous date. So this previous underscore dt, which has the lag value of dt, will not be there because there is no previous date. For 7th it will be 6th. For 9th the previous day is 7th, and so on and so forth till 26th we will have 24 as previous date. Everything looks good. Now let's move on to the next step. In the next step, our goal is to find whether this previous underscore dt variable is a weekday or weekend. How we can do that? We can apply a weekday function on previous dt variable, and when we apply weekday function on previous dt, it gives the value of 1 to 7. That means it gives integer values. 1 means Sunday, 2 means Tuesday, 3 means Wednesday, and 7 means Saturday. Now that we know 1 equal to Sunday, 7 equal to Saturday, we can apply a logic wherein we can say that if previous day is in 1 or 7, then make it missing. If we try to put this in the code, it is pretty straightforward, wherein we can say if weekday on previous day in 1 or 7, then make this previous dt equal to missing. And in here, once we apply this code, we will have missing values in here when the previous dt is Sunday or Saturday, like that what I am showing you in here. Again, I would like to say one thing here, that is this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, this thing is not there in the form of variables. I am just showing so that it is more clearer to understand. Now that we were able to make these weekends missing in here, all we need to do is we need to retain this value in here and then retain this value in here and in here, so that our previous dt will have only weekdays as the previous days. So even though we have 10th Jan 2022, the previous day will be 7th Jan 2022 because we want only our previous day to be a non-weekend. Now, how can we do this? We can simply do it by retaining this value here and here by using a retain statement. And I have made a very long and very detailed video on a retain statement. Please have a look if you do not know about a retain statement. Whenever we try to do a retain statement, we generally do it on a new variable. And why we do so, I have made the video on it, so please have a look. And I will give the link in the description below. Now coming to third step, I want to create this new variable which can be easily done by using this retain statement, wherein I am saying retain previous underscore weekday, and this creates a new variable. And also what I am saying is, if previous underscore dt is not equal to missing, then I want this previous weekday equal to previous underscore dt. So I want to copy this previous dt value into this previous weekday when it is not missing. So it copies this value to this value to this, and this value will be retained in here. And then it again copies whenever it has the values, and then it retains whenever it is not copied. Why it functions like this, please have a look on a retain statement video which I have posted. And in the fourth step is super simple. All we need to do is we need to drop this previous underscore dt variable, as I don't need any more of this. So in this way, by using weekday function and also lag function and also a retain statement, we were able to get the values of previous day which are non-weekend. So we were able to make all our previous days to be weekdays only. Now this is a simple example. And before going into another example, I would like to say one another thing. Here the data is sorted. Without sorting this data, this does not make much sense. Now most of this we try to understand through some pseudocode and some code. Now let us try to get the data and also try to put all our code in one place and then run our code. Here first I can create the data set. In this data set we have all the values I have shown you in here. Let us quickly run this data step which creates the data which we want. Now I have all the code which I have discussed shown in here. I have my lag statement which creates the new variable previous underscore dt, and also I have my if weekday function also, wherein I am saying that if weekday previous underscore dt in 1 or 7, then make previous dt equal to missing. Then also I have my retain statement wherein we have our new variable previous underscore weekday. In here we are populating that value by saying that if previous underscore dt not equal to missing, then previous underscore weekday equal to previous underscore dt, and I'm also formatting previous underscore weekday. This is just to show the values in good way. And then as we do not need previous underscore dt, I can drop this variable also. Now let me quickly run this and see our results. Our results are pretty much what I have shown you manually. Now I have discussed a problem and solved it. But here what the problem I am solving is a simple one. What do I mean by that? As such, retain and lag have some issues. Using them is always not straightforward. Now let us look into another example which is little bit more complex. Now here again I have data. In here the important point to remember is my dates are there here, but these dates are again not on their own. What do I mean by that? These dates are related to another variable known as ID. Here I have four IDs: ID1, ID2, ID3 and ID4. And again, the another important point to remember here is the dates within each ID are sorted. For ID1, I have my date sorted, and for ID2, again the date sorted. So within the ID, my dates are sorted. So if you think of this, if a patient goes to an hospital and he has visits, so those visits are related to that particular patient. Here, when I say ID and date, I mean to say these particular dates are related to this particular ID. So if you want to know about weekdays only, I want to be specific within this particular ID, and this is where the complexity comes into the picture. Now let us try to use the same logic what we have been previously using, and let's see what issues we can get into and how we can very easily fix them. Now the first step is very simple, wherein I could easily calculate a lag by just doing something like this, wherein I can say previous underscore dt equal to lag of dt, and this gives me previous underscore dt. And this has an issue, but we will discuss that very quickly. In the second step, what we were doing initially was to find out whether a day is weekday or weekend, and we have used weekday function on the previous underscore dt variable, and it gives the value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 means Sunday and 7 means Saturday. Whenever our weekday on this previous underscore dt was 1 or 7, what we were trying to do was we were trying to make them missing. That is, when it is Sunday or Saturday, this previous underscore dt has to become missing. And that example which we have seen earlier is a very simpler one. This comes with a little complexity. Now let us try to see what is the complexity in here. In here, previous underscore dt, if we look into very first instance of an ID, now let us look into ID2. In here, if you see, we have our previous underscore dt as 11 Jan 2022, and this previous day comes from an ID1. So this 11 Jan 2022 has no meaning in here. If it is the first instance, it should be missing because there can be no previous value for this particular row, because this is the first row for this particular ID, so it cannot have previous day. So not only when it is Sunday or Saturday we have to make it missing, but when it is the first instance we have to make this also as missing. Same will be in the case of ID3, which will have the value of 17 Jan 2022 as its previous value, that is from last observation of ID2. So whenever it is the first instance, we want it to be missing. Here there is one important takeaway message. You have to be very careful when you use lag function and you have something like this, that is when you have a variable like id and it has dates related to it, and then it starts with another id. You simply can't use just the lag function because the first instance of this particular id will have the value from previous one, You just not simply use the lag function, but you also have to make sure that the very first instance becomes missing. And in here, our code also changes little bit. Here, we also say if weekday on previous underscore dt in 1 or 7, and also I have added an or operator here, and I'm saying or first dot id then previous underscore dt equal to missing. To use first dot id, we also need to use by id. So we should also mention our by variable which we want to mention in here in our first dot variable. I have made a very detailed video on first dot variable and last dot variable. If you do not have much idea on these concepts, please have a look into this. I will give the link for the same in the description below. Now you can see that when our ID is the first instance, it will be missing, and also when it is Saturday or Sunday, it will be missing. That you can clearly see from ID 2, ID 3 here. For the first instance, even though it's Monday, it is missing because we have said first dot id, then also I can make that as missing. That is, I can make my previous underscore dt as missing. I have given the weekdays here just to make it visually appealing so that you can understand, but we do not have anything like this in our variables. Now, what we earlier did was we did use a retain statement. Now, if we use the same retain statement, we will have an issue. Again, you need to understand that retain also comes with some inherent problems, especially if you have a setup like this wherein you have id and dates related to it, and again a new id comes into picture. Now let us see by simple retain what is the issue we are going to have. In the simple retain, I am creating a new variable, and in here I am saying retain, and I am creating a new variable and I am saying previous underscore weekday. This is what we have seen earlier. And I have written the logic: if previous underscore dt not equal to missing, then previous underscore weekday equal to previous underscore dt. So what I'm trying to tell in here is copy from this previous dt when there is a value. So it copies from this date from previous dt into previous week date, and this also from here. And when it does not read from here, it retains the previous value. Here you can see it has retained this Friday when there was a Sunday. In the way we are doing a great job in here. Now as this value is not missing, this previous underscore dt value is copied in here. As this value is missing in here, this value is retained. That is where our problem starts. So we do not want that to happen. To do that, we want a process wherein we want to retain, but we want to reset this value. We want to reset this value in such a way that when it is a first instance, it should go to missing. To do that is also very simple. So here we are saying retain this previous underscore weekday, and we are also saying copy when previous underscore dt is not equal to missing. But what we are doing is we are not retaining all throughout, but in the end we are kind of resetting it. Resetting can be done at any point, but I want to show in the logical order so that you understand it more clearly. So here after retaining, we are kind of resetting it. Now let me explain you all these three lines with the example below. Now what we have said is, we have said retain previous underscore weekday. If previous underscore dt not equal to missing, then previous underscore weekday equal to previous underscore dt. If first dot id, then previous underscore weekday is missing. So here let's start with the second row in here, as this is Thursday and our previous underscore dt is not missing, it is copied in here. The same for the next row. In the next row the value is missing, it is retained. This is what we want. And in the for the next row, what is happening is, this 10 Jan 2022 will be coming over here. Even though this value might get retained, we are resetting this. How are we resetting? We are saying if first dot id, then previous underscore weekday is missing. So we are overwriting the retained value with the missing. So here we get a missing value, and this is what we want. And then when the value is there, it copies from here, and then these two values are missing. That is why this value is going to get retained. This first underscore id, what it does is, it resets that value to missing. And this missing value, because there is nothing to read from here, because the next value is Sunday, it gets retained. And because here the value is there, it reads this value into this one. Because if you see our logic, we are saying that when the value is not missing, we need to carry over this value into this value. Same is the case into this. This gets retained, but this step resets it. So the important point what I wanted to tell you is, retain is not all that simple, especially the retain statement. Especially you have this kind of setup where you have different IDs and different dates. Now you have seen how we can reset things. Now let us quickly run our example, and then we can see our code, and then finally I would like to explain it once last time, and then we can wrap up this topic. So here I have created my data set. Now I have brought all my code in one place, and this code has three differences. The first one is, I am using by variable here, and I am saying by id, and also I'm using first dot id here, and also I'm using the logic of, if first dot id, then previous underscore weekday equal to missing. This is where we are resetting our value of previous underscore weekday, so that we do not get observations from our previous id into our current id. Now let us quickly run this and then do our proc print. Here you can see that our dates have been copied, and also we have resetted our values, and our previous days all have been weekdays. Now before wrapping up this topic, three points I want to emphasize on. The first one is, we actually do not need our first dot id, because we are already resetting in here. I have kept this just to keep it simple. Even if we take it off, we are going to overwrite the values, but for now understanding with this itself is fine. And the second one is, all the data I am showing in this examples in here are sorted, and they are sorted by ID and within the ID I am sorting it with date. And another thing you need to remember is whenever you have a setup like this where you have ID and dates or any variable in which the first variable and second variable are related, and then you have a new ID kind of thing is coming up. Generally you see this kind of thing in longitudinal data. You always need to reset things at the first instance, and then everything will fall into the place. One small minor point, as I do not want previous underscore dt variable, I'm using drop dataset option and I'm dropping previous underscore dt variable. If you like this topic, please give it a thumbs up, share and subscribe. Thank you.